Hey, hi. So, welcome to Sridhar's newsletter number 29 and the podcast called Meaningless Techie. I appreciate you being here so we can connect weekly on interesting topics. So, please do subscribe to my newsletter, which is sridhargargiparty.substack.com. So, you can directly get these newsletters into your inbox as well. And also do subscribe to Apple or the Spotify podcast. You can look for the show Minimalist Techie on both of these platforms, so you can hear these on your respective podcast platforms, or you can actually just click a play button on your email, which you are going to receive through the subscription on my website. So this is a weekly newsletter. It is mostly about the article, books, videos, etc. I read or watch, or my views on a different topics which revolves around my head during the week. Now let us dive into this week's reads. So topic one is efficacy rate of vaccines. Efficacy rate of different types of COVID-19 vaccines are getting discussed a lot these days. In countries where more than one option is available, people are looking at efficacy rate of each vaccine and deciding simply based on the percentages: 95 percentile efficacy rate, 94, 84, 75, whatnot. And based upon this efficacy rate, they are basically selecting which is the best among these. So without knowing the right information, this comparison is being done, and people are delaying their vaccine shot, expecting to get their choice of vaccine given to them. Efficacy is an ability to produce a desired or intended result. So, how exactly this has been calculated? Efficacy rate is calculated by vaccinating list of people, and after 14 days they are left in a real world condition and monitored how many can get infected by the virus. Say, as an example, say for 10 people are given a vaccine, and out of this, in a real world condition, only one person got infected with the virus. So, efficacy rate is 90%. So, before one compare all the vaccines, they all need to subject to a similar conditions, which is not the true case for all of these vaccines. So, as each of these vaccinations are being developed in a different countries, and their clinical trials have occurred in a different time of the year, and around those time the virus wave in each country is very different. So it is not valid to compare the efficacy rate of these vaccines in real world conditions, which are actually measured with entirely different conditions in their respective countries. So, if anyone needs to compare, it would be after taking the vaccine, which one keeps them away from hospitalization and death. So, I'm sharing a link from the Yale Medicine, so you can get a complete in detail description of each of these type of vaccines. So, don't simply assume the details based upon the efficacy percentage. Please dig in and do ask question why. When someone says which one is the best, don't simply take an assumption. So always look for an answers there. Okay. And also I found one more good video which Vox has put on a YouTube, which has very in a very short description in a very short period of time. It's hardly less than 5 minutes of a video clip, and they have very beautifully uh, com- communicated this message why you can't compare COVID-19 vaccines. So the YouTube link is also on this newsletter, so you can just click on it or look into the show notes if you're hearing this on any podcast platform. Moving on to topic two: underperformer in team, and that too while being remote. Yeah. So all have been working remote now more than a year, and still many more months will be remote till major population gets vaccinated. However, we get back to normal. The remote culture is going to stay here for a greater long term. So, learning leadership skills while being remote is a key thing which I always look out to learn. So, talking about one common point which many teams face these days, that is underperformer in a team, especially when all the team members are working remote. How do you tackle such situation? So, a very ideal issue would be for such an underperformer, they would be insufficient, having insufficient skills, lack of maybe initiativeness to work, or commitment, or lack of commitment, or poor attitude. But being working remote has made every one of us to look with another pair of eyes. So it's not easy to say these things without knowing the full picture. Let us see what approach we should take in this case. Check what is different for the resource as creating now underperforming. Is it work, or is it the new work which is assigned to him or her, or it's a skills issue, or is any personal issue going on? Listen to your resource, and once you hear them, ask them what change they would do or expecting from you. What are our learnings from the discussions with them? The action item can be on either of you. This is what I learned from one leader or observing one micromanager. Never tell exactly what to do and how to do. Intent The intention here is to leave their work and their work ownership with them only. Give them all the information needed. Ensure to have check-ins with them. Let them know that you are ready for help and entire team as well. Every person in the team should rely on each other as it's teamwork. Ensure each person is reaching out when lagging. See, for the last part, I want to highlight here team. Yes, teams can help their teammates at their best. So most often I have seen a resource fallen off the radar is when his own team disowns him. When team supports the underperforming resource, they make him or her inclusive in every group decision, issue discussion, or help the resource in understanding his work more and help in completing the deliverables. It is easier to thrive when there is a team support, when there is a team support with us, and team doesn't allows any of their team member to fail. So do share in the comments what you do to handle such an underperforming resource, especially when we are working remote. Moving on, third topic is TD Jakes, and he has a new book called Don't Drop the Mic. So TD Jakes shares how he discovered the power of a platform a power of a platform with an open mic and an audience. A person with a mic has so much power in this world. He takes an example of a great orators of the history and how they have changed history throughout their communication. What wonderful about the talk was he talked not just about stage communication, rather a communication across all stages of the life. It might be communication with your boss, it might be communication with a larger audience, it might be communicating to your spouse, it might be having a communication with your son, daughter. So, so basically, he emphasized a lot on communication. Here are the key things which stuck with me with this interview. He says, your future is never predicted on what you lost, it is predicted on what you have left. Don't drop the mic because destiny is in front of you and history is behind you. Why would you live in your history when you can excel in your destiny? Third one was don't run away from the person, rather run into them. Listen to them, hear well, don't try to fix the person with your point of view. Yeah, so these are the three definitely key things which stuck with me when I heard this interview. Most of the people, according to TD Jakes, most of the people stick to an average or a normal life. Why only few takes such an exceptional journey of their life? Every one of us has a greater potentials to get fulfilled in their life. So for me, writing or reading gives me an additional fulfillment to my everyday job. So I re- even I say the same thing, and even the interviewer said the similar thing. Why to care even if someone likes your work or even they reads it? Always do what you intend to do. There will be many saying what you are doing is not great or can be great. Take the feedback which will improve your work and ignore the rest. Don't be a complainer like the other people. For sure, listen to this interview. I ended up taking notes throughout the podcast, as for sure, it has many powerful quotes in an hour. Definitely, I played it twice. It's worth your time. I'm sharing the link so that you can play this interview and look the link on the newsletter or else find it on the show notes. Moving on to topic 4, amplifying voice in organization. In many in-person team meetings or now in our online Zoom or Teams audio or video conference meetings, we will always find a silent listener or a person who shares their point of view or feedback, etc. But it's not heard at all. We talked about this in our diversity and inclusion post earlier as well. Every team member should feel the environment is safe enough to share their responses in their team discussions. No one should be afraid to speak up because of the hierarchy or fear how one would get understood and impact their career. It is very important that every meeting participant points are taken well and they should not be overheard. See the below link where research is also calling out to amplify your peer voice in such cases. If you notice in your meetings that your teammate or your peer or your cross team member, whoever it is, if a particular participant ideas are overlooked, step in and amplify on their behalf to the group. We see this problem a lot where especially a meeting organizer or people with strong viewpoints tries to steal the show. In such cases, amplify other voices to get them heard. This will make you look good, and will be doing this you will be earning respect in other person's eyes. Also, team gets to hear a different ideas, solutions, issues, and whatnot. So, best one is selected among it. So this will help you and your team. So please do so. So I'm just giving the quick read from the abstract. I'm giving that link as well in the show notes. So as per Academy of Management Journal, amplifying voice in organization. The abstract says we extend the field's understanding of voice recognition by examining peer responses to voice. We investigated how employees can help peers get a status boost from voicing, while also raising their own status by introducing the concept of amplification, public endorsement of another person's contribution, while the attribution to that person. In two experiments and one field study, we find that amplification enhancements both for voicers and those who amplify voice being amplified was equally beneficial for voicers who framed their ideas promotively, improvement focused, and prohibitively problem focused. In study 1 for men and women, and study 2. Furthermore, amplified ideas were rated as higher quality than non amplified ideas. So, what exactly it is saying is the amplified ideas when a silent person voice is not heard, if you will be helping them to be their voice and amplify their voice so the team can hear even their ideas. So amplified ideas were rated higher quality than non-amplified ideas. In an intervention in a non-profit organization, select employees trained to use amplification attained higher status in their work groups. Amplification also helped amplifiers participants reading experimentally manipulated meeting transcripts rated amplifiers as a higher status than those who self-promoted. stayed quiet, or continued additional ideas. In all these results, in case our understanding of how social actors can capitalize on instance of voice to give a status boost to the voicers who might not otherwise be overlooked and help organizations realize the potential of employees' diverse perspectives. So that was a text from the Amplifying Voice in Organizations, the short abstract. That is all for this week. See you again. Do let me know in comments or reply me over an email to share what is your view of this particular post. So share, like, subscribe, whatever these days kids says. Stay connected or share ideas, spread happiness. Thank you.